So we're going to briefly discuss how to prime an IV bag. So typically this is done at bedside by nursing staff, but pharmacy does have to prime lines when hazardous drug compounding is involved. You would not want to send a drug to the floor that has hazardous medication in it without priming it, as the nurse would be at risk of exposure as he or she primes the bag. So the first thing to do as you're priming a bag is to hang your bag from one of these pins inside the hood, or this could actually be done in a non-sterile environment as well. So these IV lines have clamps on them, and this will clamp off the line to not allow flow through. So what you want to do is use your roller to clamp off your line, as well as the actual clamp, push that forward to further secure and not allow flow of fluid through the line. Next step is to remove your stopper for the spike, followed by removing your cover to the actual IV bag itself. Now this will not start to leak out as it is sealed until you actually penetrate through. So the next step is to actually spike your bag. So to do this, you firmly hold at the base where you're spiking, and then just slowly rotate it in until it's snug. Now this type of IV line has a port in it which you need to open to allow airflow to go into the bag. At this point you would begin to pump air into the bag, which will then replace the chamber with, in this case, saline. From there you would unclamp. Now at this point we're not flowing yet, as we still have the roller clamped. What I like to do here is to give a couple flicks into the chamber so that any air that may be settled at the bottom will rise to the top of the chamber. This allows a better priming so that you don't have air in the line. Now we're going to actually begin the priming process. So as I begin, I'm going to slowly unroll the clamp to allow gradual priming of the line. If I do it too quick, a lot of times you'll get bubbles that will form as the fluid flows through the line. So as you'll see, I'm going to slowly unroll. As I do that, I do want to make note and watch where the line is as far as the fluid that's going through the line, as I don't want to have too much or any flow out the end of the line. So as you can see, it's slowly flowing through. Once it gets to the clamp, you can now see that it is, again, slowly. I'm not fully open yet. And it's best actually to almost be open, but still have a little bit of it clamped, and that'll allow a very slow priming of the line. You can see it's approaching the port. I'm going to pause it for a second to explain this port. Now this port would be used for a nurse that would need to possibly do an IV push of a medication. It's a potential area for air to be trapped at this point of the port. So as it approaches the port, I want to make sure that the actual opening of the port is facing down, which will allow that the fluid in the line to properly prime into that port. So you can see it is now filling into that port section and now continuing towards the end of the line. And now the line is finished priming. To complete the process, I want to make sure the clamp is all the way secure, and then the actual clamp as well, I want to push forward and clamp that off. Now you'll notice if the actual line is above the bag, you might not get flow, and because gravity is actually what's allowing the fluid to flow through the line. Final step is to simply re-snap your connector at your chamber, and you're ready to perform hazardous drug compounding.